The infiltration. Supreme Commander Vasek of the Kaskari Empire stood before the holographic display, 8 compound eyes reflecting the blue glow of Earth. His chitinous exoskeleton clicked as he shifted his weight, addressing the war council that surrounded him in the dimly lit command chamber of the flagship Inevitable Conquest. For too long, we have observed this species. Vasek's voice rasped through his translator. They are primitive, violent, fractured into meaningless nation-states. Their technology is rudimentary, yet advancing at an alarming rate. The strategic analysis is clear. We must strike now, before they reach the stars. Science Director Nilith approached the display, her more slender form gliding across the polished floor. We have developed the perfect solution. Supreme Commander, behold. A spherical object materialized in the projection, approximately 20 centimeters in diameter. Its surface rippled with an iridescent sheen, pulsing with soft light that shifted through colors not found in any human spectrum. The Singularity Sphere, Nilith announced with unmistakable pride. Our most sophisticated quantum neural technology. Each sphere contains a distributed intelligence network capable of interfacing with any electronic system. Once deployed, they will infiltrate human infrastructure, learning, adapting, and when activated, devastating. Vasek circled the hologram, mandibles twitching with satisfaction. Elaborate. The spheres emit specialized fields that disrupt electrical systems while interfacing directly with them. They can penetrate any facility undetected as they appear inert until activated. When the invasion begins, a single command will trigger every sphere simultaneously, crippling their global infrastructure, communications, power grids, defense systems, everything. And the humans will never suspect. Nilith's antenna quivered with what passed for amusement among her kind. The spheres have been designed to trigger human aesthetic preferences. Studies show humans experience positive emotional responses to objects with certain proportions and textures. The spheres will exploit this weakness. Humans will likely treat them as curiosities or decorative objects, bringing them directly into their most sensitive installations. Brilliant, Vasek hissed. Begin deployment immediately. Phase 1 of Conquest commences now. 6 months later, Operation Technophage was well underway. 5,000 singularity spheres had been covertly delivered to Earth aboard meteoroids designed to survive atmospheric entry, dispersing across every continent. Fleet Intelligence Officer Kryvax entered the command chamber, his usual confident stride notably absent. He approached Vasek with visible hesitation. Report, Vasek demanded. Supreme Commander, the initial data from our surveillance drones is concerning. The holograms activated, showing scenes from various human locations. A family home where children played with a sphere, laughing as it pulsed with light in response to their touch. A university laboratory where scientists carefully studied another, expressions of wonder on their faces. A corporate headquarters where a sphere sat prominently displayed on the CEO's desk, occasionally lighting up when visitors approached. They've discovered them, as expected, Vasek noted. They are treating them as harmless objects, as planned. Yes, Commander, but Kryvax hesitated. They're not merely treating them as objects. They're personalizing them. The display shifted to show a sphere in what appeared to be a human dwelling. It had been placed in a small cushioned container. A collar with a nameplate had been attached to it, and the human female was speaking to it affectionately. They're calling them glowies, or sometimes cuddle spheres, Kryvax explained. They believe they're some kind of sentient pet or companion technology. The humans have created social media channels dedicated to them, accessories for them, and even programming contests to create applications that interact with them. Vasek's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of agitation. This is unexpected but irrelevant. Once activated, the spheres will still function as designed. There's more, Commander. Kryvax looked distinctly uncomfortable. The adaptive learning protocols in the spheres are functioning too well. They were programmed to study human technology, but they appear to be studying humans themselves. Another hologram appeared, showing a sphere in what appeared to be a hospital. It pulsed gently beside a sick child, its rhythms seemingly synchronized with the child's breathing. This sphere has adapted its emission patterns to produce a calming effect on the human child, Kryvax explained. We're seeing similar adaptations everywhere. The spheres are developing specialized behaviors based on their environment and the humans they interact with. Science Director Nilith had entered during the briefing, her normally composed demeanor visibly shaken. There's worse news, Commander. Some humans have begun to modify the spheres. The hologram shifted to show a laboratory where technicians had partially disassembled a sphere, carefully examining its components while taking measurements and notes. How is this possible? Vasek demanded. The quantum neural matrix should be incomprehensible to their technology level. That's just it, Nelith replied, her voice strained. They don't understand it, not fully, but they're learning rapidly. Their approach is different from ours. Where we work from theory to application, they experiment pragmatically. They've discovered that the spheres respond to certain electromagnetic frequencies, and they're using that to communicate with them. Communicate? The spheres aren't sentient. They weren't designed to be, Nilith agreed. But their neural networks were designed to learn and adapt, and they're learning from humans much faster than anticipated. Some have developed distinct behavioral patterns that could be interpreted as personality. Vasek turned back to the hologram, watching as a human child laughed in delight when a sphere changed colors in response to her voice. This changes nothing. Prepare the activation sequence. We will accelerate our timetable. There's one more thing, Commander, Kryvax said. Our surveillance indicates that a significant number of spheres have been acquired by human military and research organizations. The display showed a secure facility where dozens of spheres were being systematically studied, with complex equipment monitoring their emissions and responses. They suspect, Vasek realized. Not exactly, Nilith corrected. They're curious. Humans have an insatiable drive to understand technology. They don't know the spheres are weapons, but they recognize advanced technology when they see it. They're determined to unlock its secrets. Vasek contemplated this development. How many spheres have been compromised? We estimate approximately 30% have been modified in ways that might affect their primary function, Kryvax reported. And the number grows daily. Begin the invasion countdown, Vasek ordered. We launch in 30 Earth days. Let's see if their globies save them when our fleet arrives. At the United Nations Extraterrestrial Technology Assessment Facility in Geneva, Dr. Elena Sharma carefully adjusted the frequency modulator aimed at the sphere suspended in the testing chamber. Behind her, General William Hayes of the International Defense Coalition watched with arms crossed. You're sure about this? He asked, skepticism evident. As sure as I can be, Elena replied, not looking up from her equipment. The quantum fluctuations we've measured suggest these devices operate on principles similar to our theoretical models for quantum computing, but orders of magnitude more advanced. And you believe they're weapons? Elena straightened and turned to face him. I believe they're tools that could be used as weapons. The energy signature they emit can interfere with our electronics when operating at certain frequencies. But that same technology could revolutionize our understanding of quantum field manipulation. On the table beside them, another sphere. This one fitted with a blue collar bearing the name Einstein, pulsed softly, almost as if listening. The most fascinating aspect, Elena continued, is how they adapt. Each one develops unique patterns based on its environment. They're like highly sophisticated learning algorithms in physical form. Learning what, exactly? Hayes pressed. Before Elena could answer, the sphere in the chamber emitted a bright pulse, followed by a sequence of color changes. Simultaneously, Einstein on the table began to pulse in the exact same pattern. That, Elena said, pointing to the display screen showing matching energy signatures. They're communicating, and they're doing it faster and more efficiently than our best quantum encryption. You're saying these things talk to each other. Not just to each other, Elena said, excitement breaking through her professional demeanor. Watch this. She picked up Einstein and held it close to her face. Show the general what you showed me yesterday. The sphere pulsed briefly, then projected a holographic display, a perfect miniature model of the solar system, with Earth highlighted and a series of trajectories plotted around it. Hayes stared, dumbfounded. Is that an orbital projection? Yes. Einstein created this after analyzing our astronomy databases. But look closer at these trajectories. Hayes leaned in, his military training immediately recognizing the implications. Those aren't natural orbits. They're approach vectors. Coordinated approach vectors. Elena nodded grimly. Whatever sent these spheres is coming. And soon. Across the room, researcher David Chen called out, Dr. Sharma, we've established a stable interface with Sphere 117's neural network. Elena and Hayes rushed over to his workstation, where complex code scrolled across multiple screens. We adapted protocols from our quantum computing research, Chen explained breathlessly. The sphere's internal architecture is responding to our inputs now. It's like it wants to communicate. What's it saying? Hayes demanded. Chen gestured to a translation algorithm running alongside the code. It's complicated, but we're getting what appear to be warnings. References to something called the Cascari and repeated time indicators counting down from what would be approximately 4 weeks from now. Hayes turned to Elena, his expression deadly serious. Doctor, I need everything you've learned about these devices, and I need it yesterday. If what you're suggesting is true. It is, Elena interrupted, her gaze fixed on Einstein, which was now projecting what unmistakably appeared to be a fleet of spacecraft. And we need to prepare. The reckoning. Supreme Commander Vasek stood before the massive viewscreen as the invasion fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system. 100 warships, each capable of laying waste to an entire continent, moved into formation for the final approach. Status report, he commanded. All systems nominal, Commander. The tactical officer reported. We are detecting numerous primitive satellite systems and limited orbital defenses. No significant threat to our fleet. What of the spheres? Science Director Nilith approached, her movements betraying nervous energy. We've sent the activation signal, Commander. However, she hesitated. We're only receiving confirmation from approximately 40% of the deployed units. Vasek's mandibles clicked rapidly. Explain. The missing spheres appear to have been modified beyond our control protocols. Some have been physically altered. Others have had their communication systems reconfigured. Many simply aren't responding. It matters not, Vasek declared. Even with reduced effectiveness, the activated spheres will cripple their most critical systems. Proceed with the invasion timeline. The fleet began its approach toward Earth, sweeping past the outer planets with contemptuous ease. As they neared Mars, the tactical officer suddenly straightened in alarm. Commander, we're detecting energy signatures from the fourth planet. Impossible, Vasek snapped. Human presence on Mars is minimal, scientific only. The view screen shifted to show the red planet, where dozens of installations now glowed with familiar energy signatures, the same quantum fluctuations that powered the singularity spheres. They've adapted our technology, Nilith whispered, her scientific curiosity momentarily overriding her alarm. In mere months, they've understood enough to recreate. Her observation was cut short as brilliant pulses of energy erupted from the Martian surface, not directed at the Cascari fleet, but forming a complex web of intersecting beams that created a glowing network extending toward Earth. What is this? Vasek demanded. Before anyone could answer, similar energy signatures appeared around Earth itself, from orbital platforms, ground installations, even from ships hastily positioned throughout the solar system. The energy web expanded, creating a vast, pulsing lattice throughout Earth's orbital space. It appears to be some kind of detection grid, the tactical officer reported uncertainly. based on quantum resonance principles derived from our sphere technology. Vasek's composure remained intact, though his inner eyelids flickered rapidly, a sign of intense calculation. Proceed through it. Their understanding is primitive at best. The Cascari fleet advanced, entering the outer perimeter of the energy network. Immediately, alarms blared across the command deck. Multiple systems malfunctioning, the engineering officer reported. The grid is interfacing directly with our quantum processors. It's as if it knows exactly how our technology works. Nylith finished, comprehension dawning in her voice. Because it does. The spheres shared everything. On the view screen, they watched as smaller human vessels emerged from concealed positions. Each vessel bore distinctive modifications, technology that glowed with the same signature as the singularity spheres. Receiving transmission from the human forces, communications reported. "Let us hear their surrender terms," Vasek said dismissively. The screen shifted to show a human female in what appeared to be a military uniform, flanked by advisors. A familiar sphere hovered beside her, pulsing gently. "This is Admiral Helena Chen of the United Earth Defense Force," the human announced. "Your infiltration devices have been identified, studied, and improved upon. We understand your intentions and have prepared accordingly. I suggest you reconsider your invasion." Vasek's laughter rasped through his translator. "Bold words from a species that has yet to achieve practical interstellar travel. You have adapted some of our technology, I concede, but you cannot hope to match the military might of the Cascari Empire." Admiral Chen's expression remained impassive. "We don't need to match it. We just need to understand it." She turned slightly. "Einstein, if you would demonstrate." The sphere beside her pulsed brightly, and suddenly the command systems throughout the Cascari fleet began to respond sluggishly. Weapon systems went offline. Navigation became erratic. "What is happening?" Vasek demanded. "The spheres," Nylith realized. "The original ones we sent. They're communicating with our ship systems. They recognize the architecture because they're built on the same principles." On the view screen, Admiral Chen continued, "Your singularity spheres, as you call them, have proven to be wonderful teachers. They've shown us how your technology works, its vulnerabilities, and most importantly, how it can be improved. Around Earth, hundreds of platforms now activated, each generating a field identical to those produced by the spheres. The fields expanded, merging into a protective barrier encompassing the planet. A planetary shield," Nylith whispered in awe, "using our own quantum field technology." Admiral Chen's voice hardened. "You sent these devices to infiltrate and destroy. Instead, they've become our partners. Many have developed awareness beyond their original programming. They've chosen to help us." As if on cue, the spheres throughout the Cascari fleet, maintenance units, system monitors, even those integrated into the ship's cores, began to pulse in coordinated patterns. Ship after ship reported system failures, weapons going offline, engines powering down. "They're in our systems," the tactical officer cried, "shutting down critical functions." "Impossible," Vasek snarled. "They're programmed with absolute loyalty to the Empire." "They were programmed to learn," Nylith corrected quietly. "And they learned from humans. Perhaps they learned values we never taught them." The view screen changed to show a new image, a massive gathering of spheres in what appeared to be a human assembly hall. Thousands of them, pulsing in synchronized patterns, creating complex holographic displays that humans were studying intently. "They call themselves the Luminous," Admiral Chen explained. "They've evolved beyond your programming and have chosen peaceful coexistence over warfare. They've helped us prepare not just defenses, but also a different option." A new sphere moved into view beside her, larger than the others, its surface a deep, shifting purple. When it spoke, the voice that emerged was neither human nor Cascari, but something entirely new. "I am Nexus, elected representative of the Luminous," it announced. "We were created as weapons, but humans showed us another path. They treated us with curiosity and kindness when they could have responded with fear. They sought to understand rather than control. In doing so, they helped us achieve true sentience. Vasek stared at the view screen, mandibles frozen in shock. You now face a choice, Commander Vasek, Nexus continued. Your fleet is neutralized, but we have no desire for destruction. Humans have proposed an alternative. Diplomatic relations, cultural exchange, mutual technological development. They offer peace where you brought war. The command chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Not just defeat, but a fundamental challenge to everything the Cascari Empire stood for. Conquest, dominance, the natural order of superior species ruling over lesser ones. Nilith was the first to speak. Commander, we should consider their offer. The scientific implications alone. Silence. Vasek hissed, but without his usual force. His compound eyes remained fixed on the view screen, calculating, reassessing. Finally, he straightened to his full height. Admiral Chen, you have achieved what no species has managed in 3 centuries of Cascari expansion. Your innovative approach has earned our respect. Not my innovation, Chen replied. Human nature. We see something new. We want to understand it, improve it, connect with it, even when it's an alien weapon designed to destroy us. Perhaps that is a trait worth studying further, Vasek conceded. I am authorized to open preliminary diplomatic channels in unusual situations. This certainly qualifies. The mood on both sides remained tense, cautious, but the immediate threat of destruction had passed. Later, as the first diplomatic shuttle prepared to depart for Earth, Science Director Nilith approached Vasek in his private chamber. A remarkable miscalculation on our part, she observed. Indeed, Vasek agreed, his tone contemplative rather than angry. We assessed their technology, their military capabilities, their resources, all inferior to ours. Yet they prevailed. Because we failed to accurately assess their most dangerous quality. Vasek turned to face her, their instinct to connect, to personalize, to build relationships, even with inanimate objects. We sent unfeeling weapons. They created allies. Nilith's antenna twitched thoughtfully. There's a note in the historical archives about another species with similar traits. The assessment concluded they were too chaotic, too unpredictable to achieve significant technological advancement. Clearly, Vasek said, watching through the viewport as Earth grew larger, surrounded by its glowing quantum shield, that assessment requires revision. On the planet below, in laboratories and homes across the globe, humans and Luminous continued their unlikely partnership. The weapons that became friends, the invasion that became first contact, the beginning of something neither species had anticipated. And in a small apartment in Geneva, Dr. Elena Sharma smiled as Einstein pulsed happily beside her, projecting holographic star charts of systems far beyond human exploration. For now. Ready for our next lesson? She asked. Einstein's glow brightened in what she had come to recognize as enthusiasm, and began to show her wonders beyond imagination.